This is a story I'm telling based on my perspective. It's a short story, a simple story, and it's a metaphorical story. This is you, and you have a decision to make. This is your car, and you love your car. You care for it, you nurture it, you're proud of it, and you want the best for it. You've had it for 3 years, and it's developed a problem. You don't know what the problem is. It could be small or big issue. Regardless, you want the issue resolved. You cannot get to work because you don't trust the car. Now imagine a universe with only 3 people. It's just 3. I told you it was a simple story. There is you, the lowly you, the low guy on the totem pole. Then there is salesperson Don, who got you into the car a few years ago. He seemed like a nice enough guy. He was going to get you into your nice red car. You didn't care about his personal relationships, his financials, or what he did in his past. You just wanted a great car. Then there's Mechanic Joe, who's been on the job for 50 years. Prior to the problem, you did not have to see the mechanic, so you did not get to know him. And then there's your beloved car. Of course, the first thing you do is call salesperson Don. You know him. He got you into the car. Glad to take your call. When you explain your problem, he says 3 things. I'm sure it's nothing. The problem will pass. Don't worry about it. Second thing he says, it's the best car ever. And of course you say, I love the car, but I'm having a problem. For half a century, you see, salesperson Don has been selling, initially with his dad. He's always been paid to sell. He may have been selling beefsteaks, or ties, or condos. Whatever he was selling, he had trained himself to say it was the best. That's what may have made him successful. He had not been trained to focus on problems. Problems would bring down his psyche, his morale, and impede his selling. So then he switches back to selling. Come on over, he says. I've got the greatest new model. It's going to be great again for the next 4 years. That's how you make a living as a salesperson. So you want a second opinion. You call the same dealership. You want to talk to somebody with experience. You're connected with Mechanic Joe. He also says 3 things. Firstly, I take your issues seriously. If he can't solve the problem, he knows he's in trouble. He's been promoted a few times, but he has been at the same dealership for 50 years. His reputation is at stake, and the reputation of the dealership is at stake. If he can't understand it, he says he'll go to the expert. He's a mechanic, not an engineer. So of course, he's going to reach out to the corporate engineers. And thirdly, if it's a big issue and others are having the same problem, he may recommend shutting it all down and issue a recall, because he does not want people dying in his cars. Now, car manufacturers routinely do that. Ford recently had a recall for a certain model in years. There's no shame in that. You just can't afford people dying in your cars. That would be worse. So that's the difference between a salesperson and a mechanic. Both play an important role at the dealership, but they are needed at different times. You can talk to the salesperson or the mechanic, but make sure that you go into the dealership on November 3rd. Your car depends on you going in.